Okay, good afternoon. I'm seeing most of us are still streaming in, so we'll give it 4 minutes, then we'll start exactly at 3:10. So you can tell your colleagues to join in by then. Okay, good afternoon, people. My name is Nyale. I'm the project coordinator for the School of Mathematics and Computing. Uh, yes, so I'll share the agenda for the day. We are hoping not to take too long. So kindly just confirm you can hear me and my screen is visible so that we can begin.
Yes.
Anyone? Okay, thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. So I will begin with the preliminaries. So if you can have someone to volunteer and give us a word of prayer, and then the rest will follow. So anyone? Feel free to unmute and pray.
And let us pray. And to thee, O Lord, we present ourselves to you as we commit our minds to these serious tasks. Let what is given unto us stick in our minds and keep it unto it, and let our meeting come to successful conclusion. In Jesus' name I pray.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Now, I'll quickly...
hiyo proposal itaandikwa ni nini ndio anatuambia.
Brian, mute yourself as you tell your friend what is happening. Okay, thank you for that. So I'll quickly take you through the preliminaries, being the coordinator, but I'll switch two things: the introduction of the supervisors and the welcome remarks. Let me start with the welcome remarks, and then let me just stick to it. I know some of my colleagues are here. I'm hoping the rest have also been able to join. So kindly, my colleagues, the supervisors, take half a minute or a minute just to introduce yourself, and then we'll take it up from there. So in no particular order, you can go ahead and introduce yourselves. Maybe we can start with the speakers, and then the rest will follow. So Dr. Ugino, kindly unmute and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Ronald Ugino. I am in the School of Computing, and I'm one of the supervisors handling, software engineering group, or is it IT? I'm really not conversant, but I think I'm handling the IT group. And I hope we'll have a productive session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Dr. Mukudi, kindly.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Fidelis Mukudi, of course, in this school and the Department of Mathematical Sciences. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dr. Mile.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Dr. Anthony, and a supervisor, one of the supervisors for the project from the DCT department. Thank you, Nyale.
Thank you, Dr. Dr. Wekesa.
Ananga mambo na
Dr. Wekesa, I think I saw you on the call. Okay, maybe he's having challenges. He'll introduce himself just before he presents. He'll be a speaker today, so we can bypass him. We'll let him introduce at that moment. The rest of my colleagues, I think Caroline Onkangi, I saw you. You joined much earlier. Kindly introduce yourself. Collins, I saw you. Bona Collins.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I'm Collins Kipkorir. I'm also taking through projects. That is a Group 1 DMS.
Thank you so much. Any other supervisor, please? If you are here, I think the participants are a bit too many.
I think I am here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Madam Edna. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Edna Chepkemoy. I'm taking you through the project. I think I have a group from computer science, and I think another group. I hope we'll have good time with you, but we also want students who are hardworking. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Any other colleague, please feel free to unmute and introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Dr.
Good afternoon, Gideon. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes. My name is Gideon Kipngetich. I'm supervising the group in DMS Group 9. I look forward to this good presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gideon. I'm seeing a message from Mwalimu Wilson Musioka. He says he's here as well, but he's not able to speak. So yes, we
Good afternoon, everyone.
that attend us. Good afternoon, Mr. Kenywa. Kindly go ahead.
This is Michael Kenywa. I have a group from Dixit, and I look forward to working together with my students. And most important, it's good that we are starting with this meeting so that we have a meeting of minds before we commence the project. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Bwana Michael. Any other colleague, please? I don't want to leave anyone out.
Everybody, my name is Dr. Malenje.
Yes.
I think I'm supporting the IT group, and I look forward to a period where we will engage and learn. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Any other colleague?
I'm here.
Thank you,
Good
Bwana
afternoon.
Mayo. Go ahead. Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Silas Mayo, also from Department of Computing and IT. I have a group also in this cohort, mentoring them on project supervision. I think I will interact with them more when we get into the details. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bwana Mayo, for that.
Hello, my name is Kennedy Munene Ondieki.
Thank you, Kennedy.
I'm domiciled at DMS. I'm one of the supervisors. I'm predominantly handling actuarial students, and I hope we will have a meaningful engagement from here henceforth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bwana Ondieki. Any other colleague? Caroline, have you been able to sort out?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yes, this is Karen Kangi, IT, computing and IT. I have a group in IT. I'll be handling them. Looking forward to meet them and have an interactive session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Kangi. Any other colleague before we move to the next? Okay, I'll take it probably. All of us who are here have been able to introduce ourselves. So mine, before I call in the speakers, we are not hoping, like I said, to take too long in this meeting, but we want to have a meaningful engagement either way. So mine is to welcome each and every one of us to this meeting. Thank you for honoring the invite. The attendance is pretty good. I think we're almost at 195 people. So removing the supervisors, we're around 180 people. So almost half have come in. It's unfortunate that some of our students probably have not joined, but we're hoping they will join before the gist of the matter has been dispensed with. And like Bwana Kenywa had said, the aim of this meeting, as I said to the target, the last part of the preliminaries, is we want to have a collective mind as we begin this particular project episode. It's a unit that is very different from the others in that it's a 2-semester engagement where you have to work closely with your supervisor. But that being said, it has no coursework, there are no casts, there are no assignments, and therefore there's been a tendency previously of students falling by the wayside. You sometimes get surprised by time. You focused on other things, you thought you still had time, then you realize the semester has ended without you doing anything meaningful. So we want just to have an active agreed front on how we are going to take this. And the lessons we've taken from the other cohorts before you was probably there was a need for a setting like this so that we can take you through as a group on the most important aspects of the project. So we are hoping by the end of this call, each and every one of you, as you now retreat to work with your individual supervisors, will have a common generic understanding of what is required of you, what is required of the supervisor to make it a success. And because of that, we will have 4 speakers for today. We will start with the general regulations for how you should conduct the projects. What are the expectations of the causes or the the school when it comes to you as a student when you're handling projects. What are you expected to do and what are the milestones that you're supposed to carry out? And Dr. Ogino will take us through that immediately after I finish my comments. Then we'll have Dr. Mukudi take us through the process of how to choose an appropriate project title. So you just don't choose any title that comes to your mind. There's something we call scoping of a title. You have to choose a title that is just rigorous enough for you to be able to apply all the knowledge that we have given you since first year, but lean enough for you to be able to complete within that 2-semester period. And that's what we as supervisors are there for, to guide you through it. But that being said, you need to know even as you develop ideas and you pick these titles, what or how you can be able to do it. So Dr. Mukudi will take us through that. Then we will now be taken through the whole process of the project and the structure of the project by two different speakers. That's Dr. Mile and Dr. Wekesa. And the reason for that is for the computing group, the Dixit group, and some people in BSIT, statistics and IT as well, you choose computer systems project where you develop a system and or you develop an idea for creating a system and then you do a proof of concept as a system. Right? Then there are those who will choose statistical research projects. We don't want to box all of you from the mathematical sciences department to computer systems project. So you are free. If you want to do a computer systems project, no one will stop you. But if you want to do a statistical research project specifically for the BAST group, BASC and BSIT, that is also allowable. So they have some small minor differences in how they are structured and how you go about them. So Dr. Miller will take us through the computer systems project, and then Dr. Wekesa will take us through the statistical research project. Then after that, probably if there are questions, there'll be a Q&A session. But what I advise, if you have a question as a presenter is going on, kindly put it in the chat. I will be monitoring. And then when you ask a question, address it to someone. So if you're setting a question, say who you are targeting that question to, so that I can coordinate the Q&A very quickly. We'll have all the questions. Emmanuel Moneki, kindly mute yourself. So we'll have all those questions there, and then they will be answered, and then we will proceed like that. So I think without much further ado, to avoid or to make up for time, we don't want to lose any time. I'll call in Dr. Ogino, Dr. Ronald Ogino, to take us through the general regulations for projects. Karibu Daktari.
Thank you, Bwana Nyale, for setting the stage on basically what we are addressing this day. Mine, I'll not take a lot of time because it's things that we are expected to know. First of all, we all know, or we should note, that when we are coming up with the project, this is actually a deliverable to show what we have been learning for the last 4 years as undergraduate students. So we should take it very seriously, because the project that you develop can be used as a launching pad to set you in the marketplace, because this is something that you can refer to, you can put it on Git, and you can refer to even in your CV when you are applying for jobs in the course of next year. So we must take this process very seriously because of the importance it has on our career in general. So the project, like you've been told, is divided into two. There is the proposal, which will be done this semester. And then next semester, you'll be doing the system development work. Okay. Now, there are things that you must adhere to when you're doing your project. Number one, you must have frequent meetings with your supervisors. There's something we call a progress report, and the lecturers, your supervisors, will be maintaining a log of the times you have been meeting them, or whenever they call for meetings, the students who have been attending this. So, you know, this affects actually the mark that you'll be getting, and this will affect, because it's the person will give a final word on whether you have passed that particular proposal or project or not. So what you need to do is whenever your supervisor calls for a meeting, make sure you attend that meeting. And at the same time, in case you need guidance, make sure you regularly visit or meet up with your supervisor, because what we have been encountering in the school, we have been having cases where supervisors disown students because you have been allocated a student and you have never seen this student, and he comes with a system saying that he has created this system. So with such kind of behavior, we have been allocating 0, and we are telling the student to resit or to redo the unit. Now, to the second point, it's important you note that there is no soup when we do projects. Whenever we undertake proposals and we undertake the system development, there is no soup. So what happens is you'll have to redo or retake the unit afresh, which means if you have failed in the proposal, you'll wait for the group that comes behind you. Okay? So that will be, I think, next year at such a time. That's when you can do your proposal again. So that just shows you the seriousness you must put when it comes to the project work. And remember, you can't move to the system development without giving us the proposal. So the proposal must be done first. And we know it's awarded a score of 100 marks before moving to the development, which is also awarded a score of 100 marks. So kindly note that in the proposal, we are coming up with the document, and it must be a feasible project. You are not going to tell us you're going to Mars. That is not feasible at this stage, but we are encouraging you to explore everything possible in the computing space. Right now, we are talking of the likes of generative AI. If students can come up with such projects, we encourage that kind of thing. I'm more of telling students to avoid the cliche kind of projects that we did during our times, things like hotel booking system. It's not bad, but you know, what newness? We are interested in novelty, especially in this innovative space of IT. Of great importance also is for you to notice that plagiarism will not be condoned. So at this particular level, you are expected to be true to yourself. When you are developing a system, when you are writing a proposal, please, can you be original? Do not go to the likes of ChatGPT and just copy-paste stuff, or go to the internet and copy-paste stuff and put it on your document. We'll be checking also for that. Make sure your document is original in nature. The plagiarism level should be very, very low in case you are to copy any matter from the internet. In case of any issues also with the supervisor, the project coordinator, Bwananyale, is around. So make sure it is brought to his attention. You make sure you urgently bring such matters to his attention so that interventions can be made, instead of waiting until the last minute and telling us that the project supervisor is unavailable. So with those few remarks, thank you so much. Back to you, Bwananyale.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ugino, for that. I think there's nothing to add there. You have been very categorical and clear as regards the regulations for projects. Key takeaways, guys, is there's no soup. Another key takeaway is your supervisor is the one who approves your continuous and your presentation. So make sure you work with your supervisor. There's no supervisor who approves work they have never seen. So you have to create your own time. You have to work your own schedules. You are free, but make sure your supervisor is aware of what you are doing so that they can take ownership to allow you to progress. I think those are the two main things I want to hammer home from Dr. Ugino's presentation. Now, I'm aware Dr. Ugino is engaged in another meeting, so he may leave us before we complete this. So if there is a question perhaps for him, I will probably take them now. You can type them in the chat so that maybe he can handle before he goes. Otherwise, if there's none, I think that is very okay and good, Daktari. Thank you. You'll be free to join the other meeting. But thank you for gracing this meeting. So I'm not seeing any question on the chat for Dr. Ugino. So what I'll do, I think I'll call upon Dr. Mukudi to come in and tell us, how do you then choose an appropriate project title based on what I and Dr. Ugino have been saying, just to assist you as you ideate on what you want to do. Dr. Mukudi, kindly take the stage. Thank you.
Okay, hello. I hope you are able to hear me. Am I audible enough?
Yes, Daktari, you are very much audible. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I may not be able to discuss everything, but I just focus on the key issues that you are supposed to consider when coming up with a project title. Now, of course, first thing is that you have been here for around 3 years, and you have been exposed to an environment that is very rich, an environment that has a lot of things to do with computers, industries, social issues, business issues, healthcare, social dimension, like the issues of poverty, violence. Therefore, you cannot say that you don't have a good idea or something to come up with. However, you may come up with something that's not actually perfect, yes, but with the help of the supervisors, they'll help you to mold it. Therefore, don't say that you don't shy away from coming. Please come and we'll help you. Now, first, try to come up with the titles that are somehow relevant. Why do I say so? You see, some of you come up with something that may not be applied to what you have been learning. You have been learning mathematics and computer science, but you want to come up with something in engineering field. We see somebody telling you that that my idea is coming up with an effective system for drying sisal or for drying tea. Now the question is, how is this related to computer science? How is this system ensure that how will it be able to how will it enable you to do what concerns with the drying tea or drying sisal and whatever? Therefore, can you come up with a better way of making this thing applicable to what you learned? If you want to basically maybe on drying tea, can you come with something that is somehow applicable? For example, are you talking about the process? Is it the process of drying tea, or is it communication? Or therefore, you can come up with a rough idea, yes, but can you make it relevant? Because we've been here for 3 years and maybe a few months. Some people will say, my idea is I want to come up with a project that maybe a statistical project that analyzes how the change in government policies affect production of coffee. Now, the issue of government policies is something related to law. How will you get that data for that, actually? Data about law and how law affect coffee production. But there's a way you can make it specific or direct or relevant such that you have the same theme, yes, but it comes out much better. But if you can do that by yourself, then that's much better than so that when you provide us, you present it to us, we can actually see that you are doing something or you are thinking along the line. Some of you are just coming up with topics without even searching online. You have access to very many resources. You can search online and come up with an idea or mold your idea to be somehow specific. Okay, something about another thing about your problem about the topic. Let it be specific. I've just been talking about specificity. Let be specific. For example, somebody will say, I want to come up with a project to increase production in Kenya. How will you increase production in Kenya? Are you specifying on a specific region, for example? Because you'll not be able to do that for the whole of Kenya, yet you are just an undergraduate, or maybe I don't know how the resources, where you're getting the resources from, or maybe if you want to increase production, are you specifying in a specific region, or maybe a specific crop, or a specific climatic condition, try to be specific. Don't just be general. Or somebody will say, I want to come with a system that will increase sales online in online stores. Is there a specific dimension of online store that you will feel that when you adjust somehow, or when you do this and this, it will increase sales? Therefore, try to be a bit specific with regards to your topic. Again, this is an undergraduate research project. In fact, it may not be a thesis, just a research project. But some ideas are very huge. If somebody can present it, you see that idea as a PhD program, yet just an undergraduate. What am I saying? Is whatever that you are coming with, can it be able to be done within the stipulated time, within one semester? In fact, not the whole semester, but within a few, because there'll be presentation. Within 3 months, you may have a very brilliant idea, yes, but if it cannot be done within three months, then that means what? You'll graduate with the next cohort. Are you ready for that? Therefore, prepare something that you can do within 3 months. But the lecturers will guide you, your supervisors will guide you on that. Now, something else, apply your knowledge that you have learned. You have learned very many things. Can you apply your knowledge in statistics or in computer science? Because that's what you have been learning. Therefore, if you come up with a project that is purely law or purely engineering, you want to see how you can do some processes and all that, then I don't think if that will help you, because this project is the ultimate it is the ultimate test of what we have been doing. You should be able to apply a good percentage of the knowledge that you have been learning from first semester, from first year to third year, and of course fourth year. Therefore, please come up with something that is within what you have been learning. Now, another few ideas that I want to add, that if you can come up with a new idea, that would be much better, very good. Something that is actually, if you can be very innovative so that you can come up with a new idea, then that can be good, because I hope the university can help you connect with the correct people that can even commercialize your idea. And who knows, maybe that project can help you get a job outside there. Therefore, give it the best that you can. And please try to make it original. Going outside there and buying a project from somebody, or maybe your colleague or your sister or your brother did it, and you want to replicate it. Yeah, maybe we may not know that it is somebody's project, but of what help, of what benefit is it? Can you defend it? Because after this year, you're going to defend whatever you have been doing from Form 1 to fourth form. Can you defend that A? You are getting an A in that project. Can you defend that A? And if you cannot defend it, that's how the judge, the universe, or that's how you'll be judged by the employer. If you have a project and you got an A in the project, the employer expects to see the A in you once you are employed. But if you got a sincere D or a sincere C or a sincere B, the employers has some kind of expectation, not 100%. Therefore, don't display something that will work to your disadvantage. If it is an A, let it be an A that you can defend outside there. Otherwise, you'll be employed, you'll get a good job, but after 1 or 2 months, you'll be dismissed. Why? Because you cannot defend your A. Now, something to avoid, or maybe to be careful with, there are some sensitive topics or sensitive ideas that sometimes you may not be able to venture in. For example, if you want to do a project on personal accounts, personal bank accounts. Are you sure that you'll get that data from financial institutions, from insurances, insurance firms, or from banks? Are you sure that they will give you that data if you maybe are doing something on data analysis? Therefore, avoid if you notice that your project is a bit sensitive, it has sensitive ideas, or has a number of personally identifiable information, please avoid. For example, if you go to healthcare, there are very many topics that you can identify in healthcare, but topics that may bring about stigmatization, please try to avoid them. Or topic that may look to identify specific people or specific people in a specific region. Actually stigmatize. Avoid them. Therefore, basically, that's what I wanted to present today. But there are very many things that you can come up with. There are very many. If you Google, you'll find very many things in social science, in social life, in education, in healthcare, mental issue, in insurances, in nutrition, gender, poverty, violence. That social aspect, the substance abuse, even in corporate world, in businesses, in societies, problem here at school, things about climate change. There are very many things. You cannot say that you don't have an idea. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. for that. I think you've been very elaborate and you've shared a bit of tidbits with examples to boot on how that could happen. Now, I'm receiving messages that I allow some members to get in. Kindly tell them that the link is open. I did not put a waiting room, and anybody can join at any time. So if they can't join unless you tell me what specific challenge they're having, just tell your colleagues to come in. They should be able to join in at any time. So thank you so much, Dr. Mkudi, for that. So like I said, if you have a question, just put it in the chat. After all the presentations, we'll take the questions that are there. But while doing so, kindly address the question to the speaker you want to handle or that particular question. So thank you so much, Dr. Mkudi. Next, I think now we'll go to the actual project. So we've had the regulations and how to choose a title, basically, which from what we are hearing is you get an idea first. Don't just think of a name. The title is not a name. It is a tag for a viable idea that you have. So even as you go to your supervisor, don't go with a fixed name of what you want to do. You'd rather come without a name, but with an idea. I want to do a system that does ABCD, or I want to research on ABCD. The supervisor can help you craft an appropriate name or tag for what you are doing. So the idea is always more important. That's where it begins from. I'm seeing some of you are struggling to come with the names, and what you say and what you are calling it do not match. So probably that's what I can stress from Dr. Mkudi's presentation. So now we'll go to Dr. Mile. Dr. Anthony, kindly come in and talk about the computer systems project, the expectations of both the proposal for this semester and the system development for the second semester. Karibu, Daktari.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Nyale. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are very much audible, Daktari. Yeah.
I'm here to just take you through what is expected to each one of you in terms of the delivery of your project proposal and also for the project tool. And I believe the project coordinator shared with you a document, which is your guidebook. If you allow me to share my screen in that aspect so that we can go together. And I believe each one of you is in possession of this copy, which is your guiding, which is your reference for the project. for both project 1 and 2. And to be specific, you have been outlined what is expected from you in terms of the formatting of your document. I will not dwell into the formatting, but ideally, you are expected to format your document in Times News Roman format. Someone needs to mute kindly for the sake of others. And in terms of the title, size 14 and the subtitles, size 13, all that. I will not dwell into the formatting because this should be not for the students in the school of computing. We should not be discussing how to format a document in terms of apart from the last part of this document, you will be required to upload your portal, your proposal on the. You will be guided by the project coordinator on how to upload your project, and it will not be in a spiral or bited format, but you'll be guided at that stage of submission. But to be specific, to go to the structure of the project, your project is supposed to follow specific structure for both the DMS and the DCIT students. And as you are aware, your first page is supposed to be the fraud page, and we should be the guiding with your specifics. There is an example provided in this document. Just to tell you, one of the most things which really get irritated to your supervisors is when you share a very badly formatted document. It's a turn off to your supervisors. And as much as you might have a very good idea, the way you have packaged your document matters a lot in terms of your readability, the structure, the flow of the content. It matters a lot also, makes a contribution to your grading. Because it's part of your requirements to format your document rightly. So in one of the pages, you are given an example of a top page, which you are expected actually to make a copy. And of course, you don't make a copy of the word appendix, but you are required to end it accordingly. For this project, it's a proposal, so you end it the proposal accordingly, as indicated in the document you have. Then, after the cover page, you have the declaration, which is already provided for you in the document, and the dedication is optional, and but you have an acknowledgement which you can optionally indicate. It's usually required, but dedication is optional. And after that, you are required to make an abstract of your project. And basically, an abstract is a one paragraph write-up with a maximum of 300 words. Sometimes some people write slightly more or less, but ideally it's supposed to be almost a half a page. And it's supposed to be a summary of your whole project in a very few summarized words of all the way from the chapter 1, justification of your project, the background, your justification for the project, your methodology, if it's project 2, your project design and development, and your conclusion should all reflect there, including your conclusion of that project. So it's a very summarized. I believe most of you know how to do English summaries, but you are supposed to provide it in a very brief summary of everything. Because once your supervisor or someone reads your abstract, he is supposed to get a very high-level brief overview of your work, including what you are doing, why you are doing it, how you did it, and what methodology you used, and your results of your project and your conclusion should all be in one paragraph, ideally. Then after that, you are required to have a table of contents. It should be auto-generated, and I believe having taken 3 years, you know how to do auto-generation of table of contents. You are supposed to arrange your titles in terms of heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, respectively, for the different titles. Then you generate it from your reference in your Word document. Then after that, you are required to have the list of abbreviations. List of abbreviations, these are words which you have used within your document, which you have used them in short form, and you might need to indicate their meaning. If I can, for example, show you an example. For example, I believe I'm just taking an example of one of your colleagues' project. Let me show you an example so that we can move together. What we are talking about. Please
Douglas
just
BBIT, kindly mute yourself.
someone needs to kindly
Yeah,
follow the guidelines.
sorry for that, Dr. I've muted him. Go ahead. I'll be muting
Yeah.
them if they don't respond. Yeah.
So in this case, before we go to the next, I'll give you an example of a project, a case project, just for demonstration purposes, from one of existing in the project libraries for the university, from one of the former students, without sharing much more details about that. And the students' project about a crop disease detection system, for example. If you can see the structure of that proposal from the top page. It's an editing from the main project title, which you have already been given in your project guideline. So if you go down, you have the declaration, you have the acknowledgement, you have the abstract. This is where I have just mentioned. An abstract is supposed to be one paragraph detailing your background information. Then from there, the purpose of your project. And after the purpose of your project, you indicate the methodology in single sentences within the same paragraph. And then the results of your project development and conclusion. And if you can see, for example, this student was doing a disease detection system for crops. You could see this system is tested on 62 images, all diseased capsicum, and the accuracy was 100%. That's a conclusion to show how the project ended with. It was a success in terms of the development phase. So this is just to show you what actually is expected of you, because when you send your supervisor documents with a very broken structure, you end up having a lot of exchange, and to minimize on your exchange, you have your supervisor, you just put everything in order. If you can have a look at the table of contents, when you auto-generate your table of contents, ideally when you do editing, you usually just come and update your table of contents and update only the page numbers, unless you have already edited some and inserted some sections. So it simplifies your work within your research. It's very irritating to send your supervisor a project which has abstract written in manually. Ideally, avoid that by all means. This is where I was demonstrating to you about the abbreviations. If we have used any abbreviations, kindly ensure that you have listed them within the list of abbreviations for ease of use by your reader. And again, your project is not only read by your supervisor, but once you upload your document, it's a university property and can be uploaded in the list of projects for the university. So you don't want to have a document which no one will be able to read as a reference. Going down, you are required to have a list of tables as next. And again, they are auto-generated. In your formatting knowledge, you are supposed to use captions within your document. When you are doing document formatting, there is an option you usually get from the references about the insertion of captions. Actually should be within not review but within references. So make use of automated options within your document. I think it's here insertion of caption, whether it's a figure or you are inserting a table or it's an equation for the statistics group. Ensure that you use this format. Don't use manual captions on your document for ease of generation of tables and also the list of tables. So having looked at the preliminaries of your document, kindly remember that from the second page of your document, you are supposed to use Roman numbering. The top page is not supposed to have a page number. Please note that. If you check this document, it has no page number on the top page. But in the first page, you have Roman 1, which is actually supposed to be declaration. Then in your acknowledgement, it's supposed to be Roman 2. So all the way up to the list of tables and figures, it's supposed to be Roman, and Roman in small letters, not capital. Then your page 1 of your document is supposed to start on chapter 1. Kindly avoid from the first document, make your document template follow this format. Don't share it. It's to avoid or to avoid a lot of corrections from your supervisor. Ensure that you format accordingly. Don't wait to be told to format your document in terms of document structure. Work towards ensuring that your supervisor only gives you corrections in terms of the content of your work. Avoid corrections from structure level of corrections. Then in chapter 1, this is where your main work starts. And chapter 1 starts with a brief background of your work. And it also provides the several main sections of your research. Chapter 1 is one of the most important, as it gives a guidance of your work. So it starts with the background to the study, then the statement of the problem. A statement is more of a high level, in a very summarized way, what is the problem you are solving? And in a very summarized, like I have a paragraph or I have a page or one single paragraph. What is the problem? In very clear, you don't beat about the bush. You go straight to the problem you are solving. Don't write a one page beating around the bush while you are just doing a project about I don't want to say, for example, library management system, because my colleagues have told you to avoid certain types of topic for your project. But again, you are supposed to ensure that you follow this guideline. These are mandatory sections of your document. So on the proposed solution is what actually are you what are you trying to do within? If I can share you the the problem, if you can look at the example I'm using as a guideline, not for sharing, but for guiding you, you can see the problem of the statement is one single paragraph. And at the end of the last part of the paragraph, the last sentence, it's supposed to give you the leading guide to your work and the reason why you are doing this work. So you can give around first few sentences trying to guide the readers of your work why you're actually doing this work and where the problem is. And the last of that paragraph, you are supposed to indicate, actually, you are supposed to give a guide of your current work, which you are supposed to go to do in this project. When we come to the project, where are we? When we come to the project objectives, you have two sections in objective. One is the general objective, and the second is specific objectives. General objective is one single sentence giving the main purpose of your work. For example, if you are doing a disease detection system, a main objective would be the main objective of this research is to come up with a disease detection system which can do 1, 2, 3, 4, or blah 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 in one sentence. But when they are down, when you come to the specific objectives, these are supposed to be now your specific work you are doing in your project. And these are the specific objectives. These are the guiding lines for the rest of your research work. For example, if taking an example of on the side of computer technology project or software engineering, which we expect students to apply the things they have learned within the course of your study. And as my colleague stated, you are required to apply the various things you have studied within your last 3 years, which includes the software engineering, what you have learned in your software engineering classes, what you have learned within your systems analysis and design, what you have learned within your database management systems, all advanced database management systems, and what you have learned for those who have learned things like design and analysis of algorithms, those who have learned things like project management. You are supposed to apply all those knowledge within your project as you have been indicated. But again, those should reflect within your specific objectives. We expect you on the higher side, when you feel you require so many objectives, you should not exceed 4 objectives. And these 4 objectives, they should be chronological in manner. One should lead to if, for example, you start with the first objective should lead to objective 2. Objective 2 is supposed to lead to objective 3, and objective 3 should lead to objective 4. And again, being you guys, you are not in theoretical kind of programs. We don't expect a theoretical research. We expect you to come up with, when you apply the various sections we have analyzed, you are supposed to actually do aspects of software development. You come up with something tangible. To be specific, to be straightforward, we don't expect you to go to field and do theoretical data collection, come analyze and do present. We expect you to apply your software engineering, your systems analysis and design, as you are going to see within your chapter 4, systems analysis and your chapter 5 development. Those are software coding chapters for the DCIT students, and probably partially for the other group. So, for example, in the specific objectives, we expect you not to have more than 1 or 2 theoretical objectives. For example, if you are doing, let's just take an example of the example I'm using as a case study, crop disease detection system. The first objective, we expect you to be theoretical, probably do an analysis of the existing disease detection systems, do analyze and confirm that there is actually a problem to solve. So objective 1 is the one which is supposed to ensure that you, at the conclusion, that there is a problem to solve. And if there is a problem to solve, that's when you go to objective 2. So if you do literature review, because objective 1 usually is guided by the literature review you do. The chapter 2, which is your literature review, is one which solves objective 1 by analyzing the existing work within your domain of your project. So if you review the existing disease detection, you are supposed to analyze the problems within the existing systems and bring that one out very clearly and justify as a justification why you are doing your work. So the problem within the review of the existing systems is one which leads you now to your proposed work in objective 2. So if you have analyzed the existing systems, we expect you to proceed and design your own system in objective 2, because after analysis you have identified gaps. Objective 2, now you come up with your design which is solving that problem. And objective 3, after you do the design, you are supposed to do the development or implementation of that system. Whether it's a software system or what kind of system it is, you are supposed to do development of or implementation of that system. And as usual, once you do implementation of your system, we expect you to do testing and validation of your system. You must test your system. So we expect you to give us objective 4 on testing and validation. So when you follow that chronological manner, you will see that one objective leads to another. You do literature review to check if your problem exists, the one you are trying to solve. Then objective 2, give and design to solve the problem you have identified in objective 1. Then after you design in objective 3, you implement. And after implementation, you test and validate. By that way, you will have actually, when someone is reading your work, will make sense on what you are trying to do. We are going to see an example. I don't know what this student did as an example. You see, the main objective to develop a crop disease detection system. It's straightforward. You don't need to beat about the bush. When you look at the specific objectives for this student, you can see he's analyzing the various bacterial and fungal diseases and how they can be detected using imaging processing technique. So you see the student is trying to use the technological techniques to detect diseases of or to detect bacterial or fungal infection of. So he's trying to use what we call machine learning or to do that techniques. Then after analyzing that, which actually techniques can be used to detect bacteria and fungal, the student go ahead and does a design now and design a mobile-based application which can be used to detect, like install the application on a mobile and can be used to detect the infection or either the fungal or the bacterial. And objective 3, the students go ahead and implement the crop disease detection, which automatically identifies the crop disease and classifies whether the disease is either bacterial or fungal. This is more of a machine learning, whereby the system is learning a few of disease profiles. Then the last, the student is testing and validating by taking a few of the of infected affected crops and trying to scan so that he can do. So at the end of the day, you see the objectives follow one another. So if we go ahead for the purpose of time, because I think time is also rushing, you go next to your significance of the study. And the significance is the reason why, what is the purpose of study? In simple terms, if I stop you and ask you in one question, why are you doing this work? What impact does your work has? What is the significance of your study? That should be something of in your mind. So if you have come up with a topic and we have said there is a problem, you should be able to explain in one paragraph why you are doing your work. What impact is it going to bring? What contribution is it bringing to the, for example, is a disease detection. Of course, there is an output out of that. The purpose is to help farmers to be able to detect crop diseases and the rest of the literature. So you talk around that. And within chapter 1, someone kindly mute. A bit disrupting. Then
Okay,
you are supposed to.
I've muted them, Daktari. I'll
Yeah,
just be muting
thank
them.
you.
Go ahead. Sorry for that.
Thank you. So in after that, you are supposed to give scope of the study. Again, you are doing a project in one semester proposal, one semester for implementation. You don't have all the time. You have the boundaries of your work. There are some things which you might not be able to do. So as long as you wish to do a lot of things, you must make sense on the amount of work you can do within the given timelines. So specify what you are going to cover within your work. So if you're only going to, for example, if you have disease detection, you can't profile 1,000 diseases within your system. So that because when you look at such a project, you are doing a machine learning kind of disease detection and doing a kind of training for your system. So you can't do, for example, for so many, you assume that to prove your point, you can only maybe do 3 diseases for the purpose of verifying that you can actually achieve what you end. If, for example, you are doing a system which is doing kind of as a payment module, you have very short period, but I don't say you can't do, but definitely you will find challenges when you do things like M-Pesa integration. You are not able to be specific and the amount of work needed and the kind of work needed. So list that as a scope of your work. Be very specific. You will not be able to do bank integration because first you don't have access to bank integration. You don't have access to M-Pesa, maybe APIs for integration. List that scope that it's not within. You will not do that scope. Be very sincere. There is no harm of saying that I will not do this part. List that within your scope. List the boundaries of your work. Then assumptions. It's very important to do assumptions of your work. And the assumptions, these are the factors that are believed to be certain or to be time bound. But for example, let's a good example of I'm trying to think of a good example of an assumption is if you are doing a project, because here you are trying to assume to do the things which you have assumed they are certain to you, and I'm just trying to think an example of a good assumption for your example. For example, you are doing a software development project, and one assumption, for example, you might think is in your design, this system will be, you are only doing a system which can work on a centralized nature of deployment. It cannot be deployed in a distributed environment. So that's an assumption that your system is to be deployed or to be used in a centralized kind of system deployment where you have centralized servers and not distributed in nature, because the architectures for distributed systems is different from architectures for centralized systems. That's an example of a good assumption, and many other assumptions which can come in many aspects. For example, in terms of operational assumptions, design assumptions, interpretation requirements, you list them there. Then in section 1.8, you have to list limitations. You have to someone kindly mute.
Daktari, just a minute. Sorry about that. BSIT 65, this is the last warning. You have been unmuting. This is the third time. If you unmute again, I'm kicking you out of the meeting. You cannot disrupt us repeatedly.
Yeah, he is unfair to the rest of his colleagues. You can remove him from the room if he doesn't mute. So, section 1.5, you are supposed to give limitations and delimitations of your work. These are the challenges and how you are going to solve those limitations, because nothing is smooth, definitely, and there are those obvious limitations you might encounter or you project to have in your work. Kindly list them. As we said, project is supposed to be you have to be very genuine with yourself. You can't be 100% accurate. You will meet challenges, your limitations. You already know. Kindly list them and how what you intend to address them. Then the last part of chapter 1 is the definition of terms. And these are the terms. This is actually supposed to be 1.9. Ignore 1.1. And these are if we have used any specific terms which are not general terms, kindly define them. If you have used specific terms. In that aspect, if you look at the projects I've listed, it has followed that structure, although this student did not have abbreviation of terms. But if you have, kindly list. So that's about chapter 1. And basically, when you go to chapter 2, you are supposed now to do literature review, which is basically you are reviewing related work. If you are doing, you can't start straight from straight to implementation. You have to do literature review to ascertain if your work holds water. And you are supposed to review related systems at the proposal level. 2, 3, 4, 5 pages is okay, depending on the amount of work you are doing. If your topic requires a lot of review of various things, then actually you review more. So it depends on the title and what kind of literature you need to review, depending on what you are doing. But again, you are supposed to review the related systems which exist. Then you are supposed to analyze the weaknesses of these existing systems, which you have discussed in section 2.2. And after you do the limitations of the existing, now you discuss on how your proposed solution will handle those weaknesses, which is now your contribution, the purpose of your work. You are solving the weaknesses you have identified from the existing systems. You must provide these sections, and your supervisor will go straight to look at what are the existing systems you have reviewed. We will also, your supervisor also, they do verify actually from the literature which exists over in the research world, if actually you have actually reviewed all the relevant existing systems. And then they will review your limitations and how now your work solves that problem. And again, in literature review, you are supposed to make sure you reference all the work you have reviewed. As again I say, it's usually very irritating to your supervisors when you write a full paragraph of a page with only one reference at the end of that paragraph. That's an example of that you have copied the whole paragraph from somewhere and planted for your supervisor to read. You are supposed to review literature. So make sure everything you have reviewed, you have referenced. Referencing is not a weakness. Having many references is not a weakness, but it is a show of that you respect the work which has been done by others. Ensure that anything you have copied and existing system, make sure you do reference where you have read it. So make sure you do that. And you have been, one of the last sections of this guide is that you are supposed to use APA referencing style, which has been provided at the end of this document. There is a structure of the way you are supposed to reference. There are also online tools like Google Scholar, which can help you reference. Either it's a book or it's a internet URL, or it's a journal article, or it's a conference proceedings. You have also been given guideline on how it looks like. You start with the surname followed by abbreviations for the periodicals. You're all given that. When you go to Google Scholar or another software which you can access free on the internet called Rotero, it helps you do referencing in a very professional way. Don't read a link online and you copy that link to the reference for your supervisor and just paste that link there. It's very unprofessional and it might make you lose marks for just pasting something carelessly. Make sure you follow the right. If you want to maximize your work, make sure you do the right thing. Again, it's your supervisor. You have been told that it's supervisor who is grading your work and reviewing your work and approving for you to upload. Ensure that you do the right thing. That is referencing, as by the way, as we go down. So that's literature review. And down there, chapter 3, you are supposed to do methodology. And methodology, it's supposed to reflect your specific objectives. In your specific objectives in chapter 1, you listed that you are doing specific objectives on 1.4.2. You, for example, listed that you want to do objective 1 to do analyze the existing systems. So you need to when I go to, or your supervisor goes to your methodology, he needs to see how you are going to do the literature review. Then your second objective is to design your proposed system. So the supervisor will go straight away, or your reader of your document will go straight away to your objectives and look at how are you going to design your work. You are supposed to list exactly how you are going to do the design of your work in your methodology. After after your design, your supposed objective 3 is implement. I need when your supervisor goes to your implementation, I want to see what kind of software development lifecycle are you going to follow? Are you followed the right software development lifecycle within your project? And if it's, for example, the software development model, what if you are developing a software, what software model or methodology have you used? Are you used, for example, waterfall, or are you used agile, or are you use iterative? Or you need to be very clear on the methodology you have used. If we are using the software development tools, indicate them there and why you have chosen those tools. If you are going to do software testing and validation, indicate how you are going to do the testing and the different modules you are going to test. Indicate how you are going to do the testing for your functional requirements and how you are going to test your non-functional requirements. For example, functional requirements that you are going to find it down there is in the testing and validation. You are supposed to do functional is now testing the functionality of your system. Things like if you are going to use, for example, unit testing, integration testing, you learn all those in your software engineering methodology. Things like acceptance testing, indicate how you are going to test your system. If it's non-functional, for example, the performance, your security, your usability testing, those are non-functional. Indicate that how you are going to test the non-functional part of your software. And in that, you are expected to indicate all those design procedures, systems requirements. If you are going to do any data collection or analysis, as I've stated in your development, indicate that. And again, we don't expect your technology students to do data collection using questionnaires. Avoid such kind of project where you are going to collect data using questionnaires. Leave that to your colleagues in the other departments, but not computing department. You can do better than using questionnaires. In addition to that, I don't know if there's anything I've left on the methodology. Now, your project 1 is supposed to end there in chapter 3. For this semester, in December, you are supposed to provide up to chapter 3. In addition to chapter 3, you're only required to provide reference list and appendices. Appendix contains 2 sections for project 1. One is the project schedule and the project budget. Those are the sections included in project 1. Project schedule is the timeline of your project, of your whole project. And project budget is the tentative cost. Having a project budget, it helps you to understand how to do budget planning and how to do costing. It's an help in some way. So don't assume why are we doing project costing and I'm sure I will not incur that cost. Probably will not be able to print, but it helps you understand the different aspects of a project. And though you can actually, when you go out there you are doing to do a costing for a project, you need to know what you are supposed to actually be to do. So be as sincere as possible and be as much actual as possible. So this is an example within the document you have guiding you on how to. So be very, very realistic in your that. References have talked about that. So that's all about project 1. And project 2, which is from January to April, you are supposed to we will continue with the same document, but we will proceed with the systems analysis and design, the systems analysis, systems design, the implementation, and now conclusion. Those are the chapters you do in second semester for project 2. So it's a continuation. So don't do something you are sure you will not be able to implement, as you have been told how to look for good topics. ensure that's something you can actually achieve. Within chapter 4, it's where you do your systems analysis, and this is where you are supposed to do analyze the existing system, both the functional and non-functional requirements of your existing system. Because one assumption of this project is that you are developing a system as an improvement of an existing system. There are situations whereby you might find yourself, you are doing a project, but you don't have an existing system you are evaluating. That is not a weakness, but I'm sure there are existing systems online. Do online, look at the existing systems and have a look at them. So somehow you will still need to analyze any existing systems and give their flowcharts, DFDs, UML, context diagrams, all those part of the design. That is for the existing. And now after you have done your systems analysis of the existing, you design in chapter 5 your system. If there is any change in chapter 4, you'll be guided by the project during project 2 by the project coordinator. Most of you usually have a lot of questions around chapter 4, depending on the kind of project you are doing. So when it comes to project 2, you'll be guided by your supervisor and also by the project coordinator if you have any challenge in this section as an individual. Then chapter 5, you are supposed to do now your actual system design, your proposed system design. And your proposed system design, you are supposed to give a full design of your proposed system. That is the things like the database design, the user interface design. You are supposed to give how your user interface is supposed to look at after the finished product for the technology computer technology students. If you are doing, you also support things like ERD diagrams, data flow diagrams, UML. You are supposed to design your project fully using the full software development design methodology, which you have already learned about all this within your systems analysis and design. You apply them here. You also give your architectural design. Architectural design is a whole overview of your system you are proposed in totality, in all. When your supervisor goes or your reader goes to the architectural design, it's supposed to get a full overview of your whole system, the way it's supposed to look like, how each module is plugged into one another, and how it's supposed to look. That's the architectural design. You are supposed also to have database design. What are your primary keys for each table? How many tables are you supposed to have? Which fields? Which one text? Which ones are dates? Which ones are text entries? You indicate them within your database design, and you are supposed to also give a user interface design. How do you expect your interface to look? User interface to look at? You give it at the systems design. Then after you have now done your design, you proceed and implement. If you look at that structure is following the objectives. I gave you an hint on how to write objectives. Systems and analyze the current systems, that is literature review. You do this, propose your own system that comes within your systems analysis and also literature review. Now, after you do design, you implement, that comes in chapter 6. And now you do also in chapter 6, you do testing and validation. So you see your project flows in a very, very straightforward way for your read of your work. So on implementation, you are now supposed to do the actual implementation of your work. And that is now the coding. And you are supposed now to, when you do your system implementation, don't just come and write a few paragraphs and close. You are supposed to, when your reader looks at your document, is supposed to understand your system the way you have developed. If you have developed your system, put all the screen captures of your system you have implemented. Discuss them. Discuss the functionality of each of each module you have implemented. Discuss how each functionality for each module of your system. Indicate it there and how you have developed it. When it comes to testing, give a full testing process all the way from the input of your data to the output of your data. Take your user through the whole process. Don't just say you tested your data with this and this and this was the output. Show evidence of your work, of your testing. Do screen captures. If you have done data entry into your system, show the data entries. Do screen captures. Generate reports in your reports module. And do show that actually the user register disappears on this is the report from because when you do a system, we expect you will have things like the reporting system. Do show that in your testing. Generate sample reports, and your reader will be very happy, or your supervisor will be very happy when he's looking at your work. Then from there, you do conclude and do recommendations. And in conclusion, you will discuss if you have really achieved your objectives. If there are objectives you have not really achieved, indicate there. Feel free. Don't be shy that you expected to achieve this, but you did not. Don't hide that. Just indicate I was not able to achieve this because give reasons. That's very okay within the project. If you have learned some lessons, which you just indicate them there, and give a conclusion and the recommendations is any future work which can be done to improve your work. Kindly indicate there in your recommendations. It's usually not exceeding one paragraph or two, in not exceeding a page or half a page for the conclusion. It's a paragraph or two. And I believe you start guided on that. And at this point, I will add there with those few remarks on what you have done, but just to reiterate, ensure that you don't do those topics which are being done and overdone so many times. Don't do those common topics like things like library management system, e-commerce portal, things like REDO management system, which have been done by so many everyone, and there are so many online. Do something unique in your project, and something when you go out there and you say that in your for their project, you did project doing this. You can be very proud when you mention the topic. But if your topic, you are sure, if you meet someone on the street and you can't tell him what you did in your project, then be warned, it means that it was not a quality work you are proud of. Do something, give a challenge to yourself. You better do something and try to achieve. If you don't achieve fully what you intended, as supervisors usually see the user effort you have put in your work. It's better you give you a higher challenge and you come and defend yourself. I gave myself a big challenge, but this is what I was able to achieve at this minimum period. I did not finish, but this is what someone will be very proud of you, and will be able to say it's a worthy project. And again, I thank you, everyone, and I'll stop at this minute unless they send questions directed to me. Back to you, Mr. Nyale.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anthony, for that comprehensive cover of what is expected in the documentation of the projects. I think that was comprehensive enough, not to add anything. Now, not to worry, guys, we are heading towards the end. There isn't a very big difference between what Dr. Anton has taken us through, although we said this is for the computer systems project and the research project. There could be probably some few differences from methodology and above, but that shouldn't take very long, so don't worry. The next speaker probably shouldn't take as long as that because majority of what needs to be covered has already been handled. So, like we said, if you have a question, just put it in the chat. Once Dr. Wekesa has finished with his presentation, if there are questions, we will handle them and then we'll call it a meeting. Dr. Wekesa, I don't want to keep you waiting any longer. Kindly come in and guide the mathematics and statistics students on the slight changes in the documentation. Karibu Daktari.
Okay, thank you, Chair, and the students who are here up to this time for your patience. You joined in at exactly 3, but now we are more than 2 hours into this meeting, so we appreciate your patience. So without wasting additional time, I would like to appreciate Mile for so far what he has taken us through. And I believe that I've seen on the chat that students are asking for this document. I hope they will all be shared. Share with the students the entire document. Now, my address targets the other students who are not intended or expected to do a systems-based project. So I'm addressing BSc Actuarial Science students. And I don't know whether we have 4 years in applied statistics. We have 4 years in applied statistics. I think yes. We have 4 years applied statistics.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me just make a few remarks to guide those particular students, those taking applied statistics, and those taking BSc Actuarial Science. The structure for your project is slightly different. I think the main omission you can make from this structure that has been shared with you is the component on the system itself. Yeah, the rest from introduction in which you introduce your study, you tell the problem, and the objectives will be the same. Then after that, you do literature review. Literature review, you are reading and citing related works around the area you are studying. Do not copy. Do not copy literature review of another literature review. Just read what is done there and cite that so and so did this and found out this. He used this method, like that, like that. Do not copy the citation. Do not cite the literature of another literature review. That's a very big mistake that people do. So you will have literature and methodology, how you intend to carry out your study to achieve the stated objectives. And then you get your results and make a conclusion. So the biggest thing that we need to go away with from this discussion is that the areas, possible areas of study for your case, actuarial science and applied statistics, to be safe, just pick an area of application of a model or something you have already studied. Like if you have done survivor analysis, you can find an area where you can apply survivor analysis. Those specific models that you have done so far, try to find an area to apply. Maybe in insurance, how to model risk for maybe motor vehicle, how to model risk maybe for a specific class of insured persons. So try just to make applications with special focus on secondary data. Do not struggle to come up with primary data. It will be a waste of time and unnecessary. Try to see areas in which you can apply your models. If it is in whatever, you have done a lot of statistics, so I would expect you just to apply one of those areas you have done and demonstrate the robustness of your knowledge is the same. If it is apply statistics, you have enough models to apply. Actuarial, I would like candidates in actuarial science to do applied areas in insurance, in financial services sector, and such like. Do not go outside your areas of domain. Stick to your areas of domain. For statisticians, you are at liberty to do either theoretical statistics, in which you can just simulate a model, it is allowed, or do an application maybe on credit, personal loans, whatever that you are able to find data on. Try to stick to your areas of application to avoid doing something like I saw there was a project presented here. I saw somebody doing a system which detects crop diseases, but if you read the literature, it's about crops instead of detection systems. Yeah. So remember, you are doing statistics and actuarial science, and therefore, even your literature, let the literature you read to be around the journals published in applied statistics or whatever, or actuarial science. Thank you. Unless you have a specific question, I believe you are well guided on what to do as we progress. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Dr. for that. So I think we have been properly guided. I'm seeing the concerns. I've been monitoring the chat. So far, we don't have a question, which is a good thing. It means all the presentations that were made have hit home. Anthony, I'm seeing you're talking about the recording. Yes, I will upload it on YouTube and share a link for you to be able to revisit any particular area, especially maybe on the formatting on the directives that the speakers have given. I'll do that in due course. So don't you worry about that. And with that, then now that there are no questions, just to now close, which is basically to encourage you to start working with your supervisors immediately. Remember, you are the one doing the project, not them. They are to guide you. So if you're waiting for them to call you, you might keep waiting forever. They have other things to do. If you don't come, it means you are okay. So you have to find them. That's why we created WhatsApp groups for you. You can communicate with them, organize when you have your sessions, and start running away with this. You may not have thought about it, but we are already in week 7. And therefore, you have probably 7 more weeks at most to have completed your proposal, after which you'll be able to upload for evaluation. So I think there's no time. If you ask me, you need to act fast and move with speed. I'm seeing Veraline, you are saying your supervisor has never spoken anything in your WhatsApp group. Have you said something in the WhatsApp group, prompted them to say something? So I think reach out to them, be proactive. Yeah. Be proactive. Remember, projects, your supervisors are not teaching you, they are guiding you. And 80% of the guidance is the document we have shared with you. So you are the one to make a point of reaching out to them and prompt them, probably when you can have a meeting together, and when they are free, when you can come and maybe see them, or even they create a link so that you can talk, so that you are assisted. But if you're having total challenges with maybe accessing your supervisor completely, I'm around. Feel free, just reach out to me. Let me know what specific issues you're having and you cannot solve, and do it early enough. Don't wait until the end of the semester. Then you complain that you could not access someone. We will not be able to help you. Right now, that's when we can be able to do that. So probably, Dr. Malenje is here, and I'm sure he's seeing the comment. So we will see what the issue is. We will confirm whether he's in the group. and that. So we will handle that, Ralin, don't worry. Eliud, in the context of getting secondary data, bearing in mind, I think it's bearing in mind, we being in applied statistics, are there access to data sources via links? I think this maybe could be directed to Dr. Iwekesa. Eliud has a question. He has not mentioned you, but he's talking about data sources via links for applied statistics. I want to inquire about the list of supervisors and their supervisees. Some don't know who to reach out to. This is a question from somebody who is not serious. This list has been shared on end. We have updated and shared it. And even if you've not seen it, you have classmates. They have joined the groups. They're talking to their supervisors. You cannot say you don't know unless you don't talk to anybody in the institution to get that. So we are dealing with serious issues. Or when you can go ahead and talk to your classmates to sort you out. We are not discussing entering meetings or supervisors now. We crossed that bridge a long time ago. Dr. Anthony, please share the document of the outline of the proposal. This is also not a very serious question. I shared it myself in that group. So maybe if you joined late in the 2025 graduating cohort or cohort groups. So for those who joined late, and for that purpose, we will share it again. We will try to share it again. So I will do so. I will share that document there for the benefit of those who maybe might not have joined. But remember, when links are shared, you get in. There's nobody whose work is to keep sending things all the time. And I think I told you that in the group. It is unfair that everyone keeps asking that. How can we use data sets available online? Of course, yes. That's why Dr. said you could use secondary data. In some instances as well, we can allow you to use dummy data, but your supervisors will advise on that. I would like to inquire on how to proceed if your supervisor has not contacted us via WhatsApp group. You reach out to them. That's what I said earlier. It is you to reach out. They are to guide you. They are not teaching you. That's why we are giving you the guide. If you feel you can do it on your own until the end, then you contact them. Good luck to you, because like we said, I don't think anybody will approve work they don't know. So reach out to them. If you reach out to them and they are non-responsive, that's another matter. Reach out to me. We will see what to do in good time. Probably by the end of this week, everybody let me know that you have engaged with your supervisor and you are moving. If not, let me know so that we handle it. For the BSIT students, where do we rely on while choosing a proposal, statistics or IT? That's what I said earlier. For BSIT students, you are free to choose a side. There are those who have always chosen a statistical research project. There are those who have chosen a computer systems project. Since you cut across, for BSIT, you are free to choose. For actuarial science and applied statistics, there's no choice. You lean on the statistical side by default. For the others, BIT, computer science, BBIT, and the rest, you also have no choice. You do a computer systems project, but your supervisors will guide you accordingly. Could someone answer where to get secondary data or the links? At this rate, I think you will tell your supervisors to do the projects for you. Remember, they are guiding. So you want your supervisor to go and look for data and tell you where to get it. No, I think you need to do it by yourself. They can direct you or guide you, but they cannot get the data for you. Website is not a valid cause. Oh, Dr. Anthony, okay. I think you've answered the question. That's okay. Are we doing a web-based standalone system? You and who? When you say are we doing? Projects are individual. And for the specifics, I think you will deal with your direct supervisor so that they can guide on an appropriate title and how you scope it. So don't worry. If you have an idea, like we said, don't struggle. Get your idea, go to your supervisor with it, explain your idea, they will help you how to shape it, and also how to name it. Like we said, it's not about the title name. It is about the idea that you have and the name tag that it can be given to describe what you are doing. That's what the supervisor is for. So if you have an idea and you don't know how to call it or how to coin it, you can talk to your supervisor. They will help. For specific project questions, like what about a full stack web project, I think you need to speak to your immediate supervisor so that the scope of what you are suggesting could be ascertained. Because when you say full stack web project, I cannot advise effectively until we probably you've talked to someone or one-on-one to know exactly what is in your head and what this title means. Sometimes there's a huge mismatch, like I said earlier. On eMasomo, there are two project one units, which are also confusing to some of us. Also, some lecturers groups on eMasomo are not there. Now, if you are seeing a lecturers group on eMasomo, you are in the wrong unit. The unit for this semester has not had any group created. It doesn't have any group created. Probably you are joining the one from last year. And if I may just share so that you see, I hope my screen is visible. This is the unit or the project unit for this semester. It's BCIT 4149, Project 1, September-December 2024. So those who are seeing supervisor groups, they've joined the one for the last cohort, and that one was closed or archived. So you can see this one doesn't really have anything. We have not added anything yet. It is just the link to today's meeting that is there. So I think probably the ones you are talking about, you entered this one for January, April 2024. Probably that is the one that you have entered. If I click and it opens, this is, sorry, I went to the 2024 also. Let me, it's not on my dashboard. There's Sep-Dec, Jan, April 2024. Okay, I've still opened the same one. Yeah, so this one has groups. It was for the SSP group. You see it has only 2 supervisors. There were few. So we'll have groups like these when it comes to link proposals. And what we'll do, we will put a prompt like this. I will alert you once we've set it up. You will click here and then you will choose your supervisor. Then you will save your choice to join the group. Then once you join the group, that's when you'll be able to click. So on your supervisors groups, you'll not be able to submit until you have joined that group. But for that, we have not yet done for this semester. We have not yet done for this semester. So if you are in a group that you are seeing supervisors' names, you are in the wrong unit. Make sure you join this one, and then we will give guidance on what happens next. What is the maximum budget allocated for the project? What do you mean budget? The one that you are developing, or you're asking if the university gives money to do the project? This is an academic project, so if there's no budget allocated to you by the university, you are the one who's going to develop a budget for what is required for implementation of your project and system. So your supervisor will guide on what happens. I think most of these questions are specific, and that's what your supervisors will do. Someone is asking me, there's an assignment for group 6 and 7. Should we do it? Now, I don't know who that question is addressed to, but your supervisor is here. in this call. So if you're given an assignment or a role, and I don't think it's an assignment, they just probably told you to do something that will maybe help you ideate or probably develop a topic or the system. You do it because you know the proposal, like we said, has the front matter, which is the preliminary pages, it has the back pages, then it has chapter 1, 2, and 3. So it is a process. You start with the documentation, you do the preliminaries that you can do, you do chapter 1. When you finish chapter 1, of course, you have to submit so that your lecturer sees, or whatever agreement you will have, whether you'll come physically, they see, whether you will do a Zoom meeting, or whether you submit on Imasomo, it's up to the supervisor to do. So the way you are directed by your supervisor, you do it. You do it. You do it. I understand Dr. Mukudi had talked of posting something on that unit so that his group, I think, can give ideas or concepts. And I think that's what you guys are talking about. So yes, you should do it because that is how your supervisor is basically collecting your ideas for the projects in terms of concept notes. So yes, you should. So you are free to have a working formula with your supervisor. So don't go asking other people what they are doing. That's the other mistake you're doing. Everyone has their own unique working style that works for them, and it should work for you. So just work well with your supervisor. Find a working formula. That's what I would say. But if you're having challenges, kindly reach out to me and do it early enough, please. I cannot stress this early enough, or too much. Reach out in good time so that we have time to remedy your situation. Okay, so I think with that from Aura, I'm not seeing any other comment or question. That means we are okay. So I think Dr. Anthony, I see your hand. Go ahead, unmute and talk.
Yeah, I'm just reminding them that about the topics for the research for the projects, that within the computer technology group, you cannot do the same topic more than one person. And just to reiterate, the first person who comes with a topic or an idea, it's first comes serve basis. If someone shares a topic and someone else comes up later with a similar topic, it will not be approved by the coordinator. Just to reiterate that, coordinator,
Thank you so
for
much,
them
Dr.
to be aware.
Yes, thank you, Dr. I think
just
that had
reiterate on that.
yes, that had escaped our minds. Thank you for reminding the students that. So as Dr. Anthony says, that is true. Topics on a first come, first served basis, and you cannot be allowed to do the exact same project. There must be a difference in how you are doing them. Even if they are related, there must be. There could be some relation, but they're different. So thank you. Kennedy, I'm seeing your hands. Mwalimu, unmute and say something.
Just to add on whatever been said, for those who are doing statistical models, we expect more of a quantitative study than a qualitative study. And maybe you can go research on the difference between the two. We see more of the qualitative study on social sciences. Since we are doing physical sciences, we expect more of quantitative studies. Thank you.
Thank you, Malim. So I think they've heard. So you focus on quantitative studies that will give quantitative results, not qualitative. So I think that is good. I don't know, my colleagues, since there are no other questions from the students, my colleagues, the supervisors, anyone with something to share, a tidbit, encouragement for the students, anything? I don't want to close the meeting without giving you a chance. There might be something we are forgetting or we have not highlighted. feel free. You can either raise your hand or just unmute and talk.
Yeah, maybe can I come in?
Yes, Bwana Mayo, go ahead. Mwalimu.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this was a good startup, touching the base for the students. My comment is just for them to note that these are units like any other unit. So in terms of putting in your time with the supervisor will be very important. What I mean is others may delay. You come in the 10th week with a title. You want that to be approved within 1 week and you submit for the semester. I think that will may not be aligned or may not be accepted because you'll be pulling the others away and therefore interfering even with the schedule of your supervisor. So I will request students to work with the supervisor right from day one so that you don't delay or you are not left behind and interfere with the schedule, as it were, because you will still be subjected to having participated in the process to the end, and therefore having complied with the attendance in terms of progression for that particular unit within the semester. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mwalimu, for that. I think that those were very good insights. So, like I said, and Mwalimu has also stressed, you are out of time. You are out of time if you've not begun doing anything. So, can you struggle to have an approved title probably by the end of this week so that you start working on the document for the idea that has been approved or has been certified viable by the supervisor by next week, so that you don't find yourself on the wrong end of the semester. Like we told you, if you don't make it through this semester, we'll not give you the go ahead to go to the next semester where you are developing or implementing, depending on the kind of project you're doing, your idea. So you have to pass this first hurdle before you go to the next. And like we said, there are no soups for the project. It's just a repeat. You have to repeat the whole thing. So to avoid that, make sure you become best friend of your supervisor. Ask them. That's what they are there for. Okay? Ask them anything that you're not sure of, anything that you do and you finish, pass it by them so that they can confirm to you that you're on the right trajectory before you reach the end, rather than you do on your own until the end, then they send you back. And remember, you will not move until they approve. So even I, as the coordinator, I cannot overrule the supervisor because I've not been working with you. They are the ones who have been working with you. So if you're having challenges, you can't sort between yourselves, you let us know early enough so that we help you. But don't wait until the end to create issues we cannot be able to solve. So any other colleague with something to say? Apart from Bonamayo, Collins, Caroline, I don't know whether you're still there. All the other colleagues. Okay, I'm seeing a comment that has come in before we close the meeting. Sorry to re-ask. I had network issue. Should I include table of content declaration when submitting each chapter? You want to do a table of contents and declaration page for each chapter? Absolutely not. You need to have one table of content for the whole document and one declaration page, as is defined in the guideline that we shared with you. So no that. Thank you, Mwalimu Edward and Collins. I think you're confirming that you are comfortable with how the meeting went. You have nothing to add. So thank you very much for that. So I think we've come to a close, and all of us are more or less satisfied with the events of the day. I think it went better than probably most of us would have anticipated. I had estimated 2 hours, and we've taken 10 minutes more or longer, but I don't think anyone is complaining. So with that, then I think thank you for standing here and waiting for the meeting to end. I think this kind of seriousness is appreciated from us, your supervisors. We are hoping to see the same level of commitment as you now go and do the actual project. Remember, we are here to guide and assist you, so feel free to reach out to us at any time. And once we have agreed on the timings that you can be able to meet us, stick to those. Remember, just because I'm a supervisor, you can't call me at midnight. I mean, they are working hours, and I also have other classes and other roles I'm performing. So when I tell you I'm free, maybe on Tuesdays from 2 to 4 to 6, I mean, yeah, so you work within that. We also don't want situations where you are reaching out anytime to a supervisor. When they're not available, then you start complaining they can't meet you. So have a working formula. I think we're all grown-ups at the end of the day. We should be able to work that out. And I don't think there's any supervisor who wants to fail anyone. It is our joy that all of you will just start together as a group and finish together as a group for the first time. So I think with that, kindly let's have a volunteer to close the meeting with a word of prayer. And then we can call it a meeting. So anybody, feel free. So Dennis, do you want to pray for us?
Gani huyo? Ni mimi?
Yes, Omiti, wewe ndio unmute. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay, let's pray.
All right, thank
Heavenly
you.
Father, okay, we're praying.
Okay,
Heavenly
go
Father,
ahead.
we thank you. We thank you for giving us the strength to attend this meeting and giving us an opportunity to get in touch of what we have been taught. As we come to the end of this meeting, Father, give us guidelines and even the knowledge and wisdom that we require in order to prosper into this project proposal. In Jesus' name I pray and believe.
Amen and amen. Thank you a lot, Dennis, for that prayer. So have a nice evening, everyone. Stay safe and all the best. Thank you.
Shukran. Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana.
Wait, I say.